Evolution Sales, Sailing Evolved. Greg Fisher is brought to you by Evolution Sales, Sailing Evolved. Visit evolutionsales.us for more information. VX1, the fastest growing one design class in North America. Visit thesailinginc.com for more information. J-Boats. Sailing Inc. is the broadest reaching J-Boat dealer in North America. Check out thesailinginc.com for more information. We hope you enjoyed today's interview with Greg Fisher. Today's interview with Greg Fisher. Go live here. Greg, can you hear us okay?
I can hear you fine, Bill.
Awesome. Well, welcome to Sailing Inc., the quarantine edition of the live broadcast. I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to kind of come aboard and chat with us for a little bit. It's, you know, we don't get to the yacht club or down to the docks right now, so we might as well share a little while we can this way. But definitely appreciate you coming on board. If quick introduction, I'm sure everybody knows who Greg Fisher is. He's a longtime one design sailor, sailmaker, sailing coach, drinking buddy. But yeah, welcome, Greg. Can you just kind of give us how are things going in your world right now? Are you doing a little homeschooling and I know you're still recovering, after a little bit of an injury with your foot. What's going on?
Well, thanks, Bill. First, thanks for doing these things. I think this is incredibly helpful to everybody who's kind of cooped up, like myself, and still want to enjoy the sport, still want to see their buddies, still want to learn some stuff and share. So what a great idea. And we're like everybody, kind of hanging in there, doing the best we can. And I've kind of been on lockdown, I guess you might say, for a few months here with this little foot thing. And now that my daughter and I are locked down together, I think she's cured on the time with her old man for sure. But we've had some fun. But no, we're getting by. And again, I really appreciate you inviting me to do this with you.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks for coming along. So it's kind of funny because, we've all kind of sailed against each other in the small one designs for years and years. And I was looking back through your timeline a little bit on LinkedIn and Facebook just to kind of see, how the whole timeline played out. And has it really been 20 years since you've moved down here and started working for the college?
No, actually it was 2010. I left North Sales then and started with the College of Charleston as a sailing director in 2010, and then left in 2018 to take the job with U.S. Sailing as the COO of the Olympic team. So it seems like yesterday. We are very fortunate to be here in Charleston, and we love it, love the people, love the place. I'm looking outside, it's sunny, it's almost 75 degrees. It just doesn't get a whole lot better.
Yeah, I guess I did my math wrong. It's 2020 and you moved down here in 10. So it's been 10 years. So I was just doing my math wrong. But yeah, you're right. It is a beautiful day outside. I think this afternoon we may have to move the desk out to the patio back there. But it's pretty cool. So, I think you wanted to kind of touch base today on kind of the team culture and kind of how kids or young adults can move along after coming up through the ranks of Opti and then Laser and then high school sailing, college sailing. Then what? How do you stay involved? And at what level do they stay involved? And for how long? I've got, a 20-year-old son who's about to graduate from the college and obviously he wants to go sailing. But sometimes you can't do that. Sometimes you got to go get the real jobs so you can make the money and own the boat. So I think I saw a presentation with you at the SARA meeting or the SARA convention here a couple months ago, and it really got everybody thinking a little bit. So, let's talk about that a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think these are different times. When I was young and went through college, and when I was done with college, I was fortunate to love the sport of sailing, and I wanted to continue on with it. And there weren't too many options in those days, frankly. And like many my age that wanted to stay involved, I became a sailmaker, and I was lucky to get engaged with some people that really took me under their wing. Bill Shore was my first job in Newport, Rhode Island, and a great teacher. And I realized then that was going to be my career. And I think that was what gave me the opportunity to do a lot of sailing. Coming out of college, of course, we didn't have a lot of financial resources to work with, and it's the same today. And maybe in some ways today, I think it's even trickier. So it's hard, and the boats are more expensive, campaigning's more expensive. The level of ante to get into a really strong program is more these days as well, which is great because that means the level of competition and the level of commitment is even higher. But it is more involved, and it is a little more expensive to do that. So I think, the things that classes are doing these days, like the Etchells with their youth teams, I think they have 3 boats that they share. The Lightning class does the boat grant program, which is super successful, and I'm excited to be on that committee and see that growing. And there are a number of classes that are, working on those kind of programs for young sailors that want to compete, but just don't have the dough to do it. They provide a boat, they provide some financing to go to the events, and I think that's really strong. Unfortunately, there aren't enough for everybody, and I think we could have a whole discussion about college sailing, and I'm a huge fan of college sailing. I think it not only teaches sailors to be great sailors, the racing that goes on is spectacular. It teaches them to be great teammates. It teaches them time management. It teaches them
did you lock up there, Greg? Well, we're having a little technical difficulty. I'm not sure if he can hear you. Greg, can you hear us okay? I'm going to put... Well, it sounds like we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty with Greg, so I'm going to stand by a little bit. Greg, are you back now? Can you hear us okay now? Oh, bummer. Well, I'm going to scroll through a few pictures here that he sent us. This is always a fun one here. I think it's him hanging out at the... I think we've lost him completely now. Hopefully he logs back in. But if not, we'll talk through it a little bit and see how it goes. I think this is a picture of Greg at the College Nationals 2 years ago. He was out on the coach boat and celebrating a little bit because I think his team was just about to win the College Nationals. He obviously wanted to celebrate his wife winning the VX1 North Americans this year with Mike Marshall. That's a great shot of them up in Newport. Greg, let me know when you get back in. Hang on, he's texting me. So let's see what he says here. Let's see what he's gonna try and log back in. He says things shut down on the other side. So, but anyway, Greg kind of, he reiterated the fact that that his, he really wants to push people to continue on in sailing as much as they can, and he's really got a great program and initiative to kind of keep that going. And I think he was talking about. Oh, hold on, I think he's coming back now. Stand by, Greg. Let me pull you back in. Are you there now? Can you hear us okay?
That's all right. I can hear you fine. Am I okay?
Yeah, I think everybody can hear you. So while you were gone there, I showed a couple of little celebration pictures here. This one here of your wife winning the VX1 North Americans with Mike Marshall this year. It was fun to watch them sail so well. Hopefully we can get our boat going as well as they are. But and the other picture that I stuck up there real fast was this one, and I believe this was just before you guys won the college nationals, right? And you were sitting on the coach boat celebrating a little bit.
It could be. I think it might have been right during like a nationals practice where everybody's having a great time and really focused on it. And we often had days like that. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I get to spend a lot of time down at the docks at the college, and I get to talk to a lot of the young sailors that are down there, and they all come off the water smiling every day. And it seems to me that you guys have that mentality of if you guys aren't out there having fun anymore, it's time to bring it in, because it's just, there's a reason we're doing this, and it's not necessarily to go out there and just grind. And we want to keep it as fun as possible.
Yeah. Well, can I talk about that a little bit, Bill? But before, can I go back and just kind of finish what I was trying to say before I got cut off? With the pro sailing, and I think I was one of those initially that kind of thought pro sailing wasn't healthy for the sport, and I'm not sure why I had that conclusion or made that distinction, I guess, but then I went down and was able to do some coaching at some J70 events and had a great time. Loved it. Loved the people there. Obviously loved the coaching. But I saw a lot of college sailors there who wouldn't necessarily have had the opportunity to do a lot of sailing. They're racing. And so I think what college sailing does is give these sailors that are super talented sailors an opportunity to stay in with, continue on and do their thing. So I think it's a healthy thing.
Yeah.
So I would love to see everybody have the opportunity to do their own racing. I think that's great. And there are still people that get involved with, sail making or yacht designing or boat building or whatever. I think that's still a great part of it. But there's a lot of, going back to your question, I think there's a lot of opportunity out there.
Yeah.
But you're right. What you said too about the gang having fun down at the dock and college sailors enjoying themselves, that's the name of the game in anything we do, no matter what level. We got to make sure we're having a great time. And, I had some time to work with the Olympic program for just over a year, and I learned a lot. It was challenging in a lot of ways, but the part that I really enjoyed the most was the time with the coaches and the sailors. And my job only gave me a couple opportunities to do that. But what I realized is, though they are at a level of commitment and focus like, you rarely see, they are having a great time as they do it. And they work super hard. They're obviously super talented. And I have incredible confidence. We're going to see great things out of this team in the future. It's developing. The leadership is developing. The focus is developing. But my point is, they have a great time. That shot you have up there is, I got to go to the Pan Am Games as a coach with Leandro Spina and Malcolm Page. And I had a great time learning from them. I had a super time with the athletes. And, spending a lot of one-on-one time with them, helping where I can, supporting where I could, and just watching them do their thing and love it as they do it. But this shot here is kind of cool because this is after the medal race where Riley and Anna won the gold medal in the games. This last race is blowing over 20, 25, and their goal was just to keep that boat upright. And they're sailing in and won the race. They didn't win the race, but they did exactly what they needed to do and won the event. It was really cool. But it was fun there. We had the team got 7 out of 10 medals, and but most important, going back to what you're saying, they had a great time doing it. Focused the whole time, 200% all the time, but enjoying it. You can see by the picture, this is after, I think, the first day of medal races, after 5 medals were won, and there were 2 more after that. And it was just fun to be with this gang. They were incredible.
Yeah, I'm kind of scrolling through the pictures a little bit. I know they're probably a little bit out of order, but it looks to me like everybody down there is having an absolute blast the whole time. And, it's great that we can send our athletes to events like that and show off their skills and win some of these events and get ready for the Olympics. So it's pretty cool. And we appreciate all the efforts from, all the coaches and staff. And, it sounds to me like there's a lot that goes into it, a lot further than what we're the average team. So, just talking about coaching, Bill, in this picture here with our little mascot buddy in the middle, this is a number of the team, but the 2 coaches, and it's small to see, but Malcolm is there, Leandro is there. And, these are 2 incredibly talented coaches and sailors in their own rights. Obviously, Malcolm's got 2 gold medals, 5 world championships. Leandro's result list goes down the length of his arm. But, watching them coach it's all about, the sailors, and it's all about making sure they're giving them the information they need in such a way that it's supporting them and making sure they have a great time, and I learned a lot from that. It's not all about developing we're going to win at all costs. It's we're going to have a great time as we do this, and we're going to give it 200%, right? And that's the way it works. Absolutely. Can you give us a quickie? Who is this group from left to right?
So that's Farah Hall. That's Leandro. Will Sear. Farah was a windsurfer. Will is the foiling kite. That's Meredith Bro, the Olympic director. That's Riley, the NACRA. That's Connor Bluen, the assistant coach at the College of Charleston, the Sunfish guy. I'm a little nervous how he's looking at the mascot there. I don't know if you can tell, but that's Connor. Great coach, great guy. And that's Hannah that does did the snipe. And that's Malcolm next to Charlotte Rose and yours truly on the far right.
Very nice.
So it's a great group. Nice. And that's not all the team, but that's a good bunch of it.
Right.
We had fun.
Self back onto this screen here. I may end up on the other side now, but that's all right. Well, cool. That's, is there any, what else did you get out of that trip? I mean, you obviously, it looked like they all had a great time and there was a lot of success down there. But what do you think the athletes brought back to get them ready for the Olympics and beyond?
Well, I think it gave them a big shot of confidence because they all sailed really well, no question about it. They had good speed, which obviously is a big part of it, and I think what was interesting there, because they had limited resources, they only allowed 3 coaches for the the 10 classes, and we broke that up. Leandro organized what we did with the different teams each day, and some of us were more focused on certain areas, like myself with the lightning and the snipe and the sunfish, for example, and Malcolm did the 49er and the FX more. But it was interesting that we really were focused on giving them what they needed. We had debriefs with them every night, and that was important. But it was all kind of helping maintain the tempo that each team needed. You know, you could easily overwhelm them. So I learned watching these guys at work how they were very careful about making sure they make sure that they were enjoying themselves and at a state where they could really handle the next day of sailing.
Yeah, it looks like somebody just chimed in from possibly upstairs. Can you see that across the bottom of the screen?
Yeah. Like, how are the athletes doing now? You know, I think everybody's disappointed that this was the move that had to be made. But obviously, as we all know, unfortunately, that was the right decision, you know, and everybody's disappointed. I've talked to a couple of the coaches. I haven't talked to the athletes, but obviously they shared that in some ways they say, I think everybody saw the posting and the interview with Steph and Maggie where they said, you know what, we got another year here to really nail this thing. And it's, you know, it's important. I think it's important they have that attitude, and they do. And because they love it, they're going to balance it and make sure that they are having a great time as they go through this whole thing. But I think everybody has a perspective and understands that this was just what we had to do.
Absolutely. So what happens there? Do all classes basically just hold on to whatever athlete won the trials, or do we have another trials, or is it class by class? What's going on?
No, I think once the trials are complete, and most of them are for sure, everybody is set, and the coaches will focus on that sailor. And then and I'm speaking a little bit out of school, and obviously I haven't been involved for a number of months now, but this is where Leandro steps in. Leandro is the ODP coach, the Olympic Development Program, not just a coach, he's a director. And for those that you don't know, Leandro, or you haven't had the opportunity to spend much time with him, he is exceptionally talented. He was the Olympic development coach of all Olympics, you know, gymnastics, skiing, everything in 2018. And that's pretty spectacular. But this is where he steps in and makes sure the team members that didn't make it are still engaged and enthused to move forward for 2024. And he's on it. He's got it all figured out.
It's a little job security for him too. Keep it going.
Yeah. But he loves that, and he's the man when it comes to keeping the team together like that.
That's awesome. Real quick, I just want to, you know, I can see the people are chiming in and asking a few questions here, and we're just going to try and answer them as they come in. Todd Wake, I will pop you up here in just a second. I do want to talk a little bit about the VX1, so get ready, Greg. But he does have a question, but I don't want to get off this group just yet. You know, I want to make sure that you've kind of given us all the information you think we need to keep things going here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Can we talk a little bit about a team?
Absolutely.
Because I love my time at the College of Charleston for a number of reasons, but one was to be a part of the team culture we had. You know, we had great coaches. I was lucky to be with Ward Cromwell as our head coach. Mitch Hall was our assistant coach, who I was fortunate to hire. Obviously, Ned Goss, Chuck Coyer. Ned's our dock master and is full on 24/7. Chuck had a huge effect on our offshore program, and now Connor Bluen's there. And these guys really thrive on putting together a very strong team spirit. And I think what drives that is that everybody needs to know they're a part of the team. You know, I think everybody appreciates there are those sailors that are going to go literally win the national championship for us. And then there are those sailors that help us with the marketing, help us with the organization, help us run the races, and help keep our top competitors, if you will, honest, and that they race against them every day at practice. And everybody knows that they're contributing to that, and they have, an effect on the performance. And it's interesting. I think a part of this too, it comes not only a respect for each other, but comes some responsibility. And everybody knows and feels that they're a part of this strong team, and they need to be responsible and recognize everything that they do reflects on the team. We always would say, we're unfortunately, but it's kind of cool, we're living in a bubble and people are kind of watching you guys because of what you've been fortunate and worked so hard to achieve. And when you achieve that, you know, it comes with some responsibility to show what it's like to be a strong sportsman, sportswoman, and what it takes to be a strong team player. And they did it, man. They nailed it every day. And it was so much fun to be around those coaches and watch them do their thing. And it was so fun to be around the sailors and watch them enjoy it every single day. You know, and that was an important part. This sounds kind of trite, but when we have practice, we would literally watch the expressions on the team's faces. We would listen to what they say. You know, if the gang would come by and say, hey, how many starts are we going to do? Or somebody would come by and say, how much longer you know, if we got the sense, we would talk about it and say over the radios, I had 3 come by, I had 2. We would just, if for some reason it wasn't resonating and they weren't having fun or weren't enjoying the whole process, it was time to go in. And I hope the coaches would agree with me on that too, but I think everybody recognized the value of making sure that everybody was on the same page and having a great time.
Absolutely. They really are a bunch of good kids. I mean, we're lucky enough to be able to hang out with them a little bit because of Jordan. So, I've met so many of these good kids and their parents and the coaches. I mean, the support within that whole group is just amazing. So
yeah. You mentioned Jordan,
awesome.
just real quick. I want to do a little plug for the offshore team, and I'm not a big boat sailor, Bill. You know, I've been on one every once in a while, and back in the old days, I did a little bit. But it was interesting when Chuck Hoyer came to town, and when we had a group of sailors who were big boat sailors come, and you know, they didn't make the dinghy team, but they were obviously talented sailors. They started the offshore team, and all it did is just give a group another opportunity to enjoy the sport and represent the College of Charleston and be a part of this strong team culture. And it was really cool. I think we went from 35 kids on the team to 70 in a matter of a couple, 3 years.
Yeah.
I'm not sure the administration was super fired up about that, but it was a really talented group. And the captains, I just want to say the captains are key in this. And I think this is an important part of developing a team is that the captains get elected by the team. The coaches really don't have any involvement with that other than taking the votes, you know, and then they choose their team coaches and they listen to them and they lead them.
Yeah.
Sorry if I got off on a tangent there, but I just kind of love being a part of a team that is strong and growing. Yeah.
In this picture here, these are alumni, right? They get to go back and play a little bit after they're done.
Yeah. Well, this is an especially a special picture to me because my wife Joanne's in the picture, and this is when she and Emmy and Jackson and Zeke driving the boat won the J22 Worlds in 2018. And yeah, you're right. Emmy, Jackson, and Zeke just recently graduated from the college, so there's Joanne sailing with them. Zeke took my position at North Sails in Annapolis. He sailed the boat that we sailed when we were fortunate enough to win the Worlds and went and got the job done. And it was just cool. I mean, and I'm happy that they did that. I'm really happy that they invited Joanne to come sail with them. And she had a great time, and I'm excited that she continues to sail. You know, I don't have the opportunity quite as much because of the jobs that I've had, but that's fine. I had my time, but I'm glad she's still able to do her thing. And you mentioned sailing with Mike when they won the VX1 North Americans. It's that kind of sailing that keeps her involved and excited.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. You know, we travel quite a bit to these different events, and it seems like everywhere we go, Joanne comes crawling out of the crowd to give everybody hugs. So she's been doing a lot of sailing, and she's got a lot of hardware on the wall, it seems like. So
she's
got to
done
be
really
pretty
well.
proud of her. Yeah,
I'm very proud.
Yeah. So, well, great. Let's see what we can move on a little bit here. So let's just say, one of these sailors that graduates and they're not going to make it to an Olympic team, or they don't necessarily want to be a sailmaker. They're going to go out and they're going to get a real job. But what seems to be happening is these kids disappear for about 10 years while they go out and they get married, they have their 2.5 kids and raise enough money to where they can come back and finally buy a little boat and start competing again. How do we bring those kids back into the fold, or keep them in the fold a little bit longer?
Well, first, I think, as you said, we all see it. It's not that they don't want to do the sport. It's not that they don't love it. And we identified a few areas where they have the opportunity to continue to sail. And I got a feeling, and I'm sure we've all seen it, that other classes are doing more of these youth sailing boat grant type opportunities. Yep. And I think that's cool and that's smart. I think pro sailing is strong for a reason, and I think it's a great opportunity. Unfortunately, that's not for everybody, but I think it's great. But one thing, we got to recognize the sport's changed. It's going to evolve. And one thing that we've noticed, in my time at the College of Charleston, is how we have this fleet of 10 J22s. We have 36 dinghies that are sitting on the dock. And it was cool that our gang would say, how can we help the community? And when you make these boats available to the gang to be able to sail, for example, Tuesday night racing in the spring and the summer.
Always a good time.
Man, well, sometimes there's 70 people out there. And I almost said kids, but it's kids. It's the older generation. It's everybody that gets to go out there and sail. And the J22s are the same type of deal, whether it's our local SARA championships or, yacht club championships or whatever it is. I think that is going to be an important part for yacht clubs or community sailing centers. And I'm not saying anything new for sure, because we see this happening, to build these fleets, to be able to offer an easy way for people to get on the water, race or cruise. Obviously we're racers, so we look at it that way, or cruise around or whatever it is. But I think when the boats are available, when it's relatively inexpensive, those kids will stay involved. Like you mentioned, the Tuesday night that we just talked about, there are, on any given night, you could name probably 6 or 8 recent graduates of not only the College of Charleston, but all kinds of colleges. Ryan Davidson is a regular down there. Stefan Kuhn is a regular down there. And I think that's important because they have the opportunity to stay involved.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think it's, in my mind, Bill, just to kind of reiterate, a yacht club or a community sailing program, or a team, they can make a huge difference in a community if they just plain have boats available and make it easy for people to get out sailing without spending a pile of dough.
Yeah, I think that's key. And I think a lot of clubs are kind of going to they're digging into their pockets a little bit to buy a few boats and have the boats available and see what they can do to bring these youth or junior memberships around, so that they get them there, get them sailing, keep them sailing. And once they've got a little money in their pockets, they'll invest in a boat and they'll keep sailing. So
yeah,
I think it's cool. And those Tuesday nights are always a good time. We don't get out there nearly enough, but I think now that Ashley works on that side of town, it might be a little easier for us to get over there and do those as soon as we start them up again. Hopefully it's sooner than later.
That's great. That's great.
Well, cool. So, what? This is a good leader right here. Tommy Weaver is flying Scott Sailor out of Columbia, South Carolina. Tommy, right?
Yeah, sure. Hey, Tommy.
He wants to know, are you going to go sailing?
Well, I Yeah, I'd love to do sailing. We still have our Lightning. It's sitting in the garage. Obviously, Joanne is still engaged with the sport at all levels and loves it. And I think wouldn't mind getting in the boat with me again if there's time.
Yeah.
And we've threatened a crew from our brother and a Lightning, and I would love to be able to have that opportunity. And I love it. But I also recognize at these days, especially to be able to compete at a level that we all would like to compete at, and maybe what I was used to, you got to have the time to prepare and, practice. And I haven't been able to do that much recently. So I would have to put that time in, and that would be important to, for me to be able to enjoy it the way I'd like. But that's a preface to me saying what I really love now is coaching. It just turns me on when somebody, if you're in a motorboat and somebody turns around, looks at you and smiles and said, man, we're going faster, or we're going higher, or that really worked. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, whether it's a group of kids at Carolina Yacht Club sailing open Bix, or whether it's Steph and Maggie and an FX at the Pan Am Games. It's relative, and obviously we're looking at different levels and everything. But I think, to me, being able to give back and have an impact like that is really fun. Whether it's an individual, I've been able to do some coaching with some J70s that involve some really close friends, and Zeke's on the boat, so that's really cool. Yeah. And it's just to be able to spend that time with them and watch them learn and watch them enjoy it is really cool. So I think, for me, I'm glad Joanne's continuing with the sport, and I want her to do that. And, if it would ever work where I'd end up coaching at the same events, that would be, for me, the real deal.
Yeah. Well, Tommy,
and I would love to sail, but you were going to ask about the VX, so I will bring that up.
Well,
and I've been lucky.
Let me come up here and your buddy Todd Wake. I'm going to let you talk about the VX1. I talk about the VX1 all the time. I can't get enough of it, but we'd like to hear your take on it.
Well, I've been lucky to sail a lot of classes and a lot of boats, and I was born and raised in the Lightning, so we'll start with that. And my good buddy Jeff Ivor, who sailed with me for 30 some years, was president of the VX class for the last a couple of years, and he always would bring his VX to Charleston Race Week, which obviously, if you guys haven't been to that event, I really hope you get to do it. Unfortunately, it was canceled this year, like everything, but it will be back, and it is a great event. And the VX is a growing class in that event. And Jeff would bring the boat, and Joanne and I would sail with him in that boat. And first, I'll say I've never gone so fast in any sailboat as I did the very first day we went out. So it's an exciting boat. And I think it's a different perspective. I certainly, it's a different kind of boat from the Lightning, but I think they complement one another. And I guess that's why I bring it up, because, I love the Lightning, and I have one sitting in the garage, and we would never give it up. But I also think the VX is a really cool boat because it brings something to the table for people that want to just plain go really fast. And it's a great group of people in that class as well. And I think this is what we need to engage the young people we're talking about too, is to have boats at all levels. It's cool. And I know you've seen it too, Bill. The Lightning class is just amazing with the number of young sailors that are like at the North Americans or at our big regatta here in the fall, the Wild Oyster. It's just drawing amazing. I think there were 30 some kids at the Wild Oyster under 30 years old, which is cool in this Lightning regatta. And then, of course, the VX is going to draw to people that want to just plain rip around and go real fast. So, there are opportunities out there, but I think people like you and I think a lot of people that are hopefully listening to this, we have to really work hard to make sure they have the opportunities to sail all these boats and enjoy it.
Absolutely.
And there's a little bit of everything for everybody.
Yeah. It sounds like Todd wants you to go to the Lightning Masters this year.
That's a deal. That's a deal. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Jeff Betts has a quick question here. Let's see what he's got to say.
He asked, yeah, if I'm going to write any more books. Well, it's funny that Jeff mentions that. Obviously, we all have a little more time on our hands these days, and I have a website that I'm working on. Actually, a good friend of mine from the college, Stefan Kuhn's, working on it.
What's that link?
Just gregfishersailing.com. Maybe give it a day. It's not quite there yet, but give it a day. But what I'm hoping to do is kind of do some blogging, maybe do some interviews, maybe write some articles and put it there. And, it was fun doing the book that we did a number of years ago with my doctor and former president of U.S. Sailing, Tom Hubble. I'm not sure I'd do that again, but I certainly would love to write because I like that. And if we can do more things like this, where we can help teach people, that'd be really cool.
Absolutely. I think, yeah, it's funny. I don't always get a lot of time to sit down and read, but I do my best to, when somebody like yourself puts a book out there, I'll sit down and read it because all the little nuances that you can't quite pick up on the water, you pick up in the book, and it's just a matter of now just applying it back. So yeah, I think we'd all be pretty happy, if you could get another book out there for us. But
well, thanks.
So fun. Let's see what. I'm not sure if anybody else has got any. Tim Pitts says hi from ISV 28, the VX1 fleet.
Oh yeah.
So
that's cool.
Looks like he got dropped off here. Your buddy Ryan Flack from the Lightning fleet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We need to get Ryan back out sailing once in a while. I think he still sails up in Michigan.
Yeah.
But we need
that's
to get
a
him.
Super active fleet up there at Pontiac.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the biggest fleet of sailboats probably anywhere in the whole world.
Yeah.
It's a good group.
There's your buddy Ryan Davidson. You just mentioned him. Yep. He's a boat grant recipient, right?
Yeah. And so that's just to, I don't necessarily mean to put a plug in for the Lightning class, but I will, because I think they do a great job. They do the boat grant program, and then they actually take it to the next step where they have a legacy program, they call it, where they actually will have boats donated to the program, or now that there's a little bit of funding for it, they'll actually, this year we're buying a new boat to provide to the boat grant program to kind of keep it at a level where when the sailors get in, they're truly competitive. All the boats have new sails. It's really cool.
How many boats are in that boat grant fleet now?
So this year, it's about to be announced. There are 3 teams, an all-women's team, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And what's really cool, too, is they're almost all college sailors. So that goes back to what we're saying.
Yeah.
But Ryan's the epitome of how that program works, because you do the boat grant, you love it, you say, this is cool, what's the next step? Like you asked earlier, Bill, and then the Lightning has this legacy deal where they'll say, hey, how about you buy this boat and we'll make you a deal that you can't refuse? And sure enough, Ryan bought the boat. It's parked on the other side of our driveway out here. And he went to the North Americans, got 7th, best a boat grant sailor I think has ever done, although a lot of them have done very well. Yeah. And he got 2nd in the South Americans, and he's full on the Lightning class and represents what this kind of a program and what a class like that's working at it can really make happen.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we enjoy Ryan a lot. We get to see him a lot sailing, and I think Jordan sailed with him a few times now in the Lightning. And but yeah, he's a great guy. So. Anything else you want to add? Looks like we've definitely gone above our 30-minute bubble, but I think it's been great. I think no, don't apologize at all, because I think we've had a lot of viewers come in and a little bit of interaction, so it's been good. So anything you want to add?
Yeah, you asked, one of the things when you and I traded ideas on what the agenda might be like at the end, you said, if there's something you wanted to say to the group, whether it's younger sailors or whatever, what would you suggest? And I want to try to say this in a way that it really resonates. But when you're looking at life, make sure that you involve your family in this sport, and for me, I'm really lucky that Joanne loves the sport, maybe even more than I do, and she has a great time doing it. And when we met, my enthusiasm for it, just grew that much more. And the fact that we're able to do this together has been really important to me. And and I'm really lucky as a result. And as a result, my kids are involved. My oldest daughter, Martha, just did the Thistle Midwinters West this winter. She's still into it. Joanne's and my daughter, Addison, we're very careful not to push her, but she's gotten into high school sailing. And I'm just saying, I think what's cool about this sport is it truly can be a family sport. And to make it really a lifelong sport, we all need to work hard to involve our families, and it just makes it that much more fun. So that's my 2 cents. And I couldn't be more lucky and grateful for what this sport has brought to me and my family. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Well, I think we'll probably go ahead and sign off here. It looks like we've gotten a lot of thanks on here. So it sounds like we did some good today, Greg.
Well, this is really cool that you're doing this. I love the fact that you make it so informal and fun. And it's neat to see people ask questions or make comments. I hope you keep doing this. And I hope what I think is cool is that I hope even after we get through these tough times, with the virus and what we're all dealing with and forced into, that you keep this going, because it's cool. It's just plain fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good time, and hopefully we can keep things like this going even. And you know what, I'm going to try and do these interviews, over the next, however long we're stuck here at the house, right? Because it's we're not there working on sales right now, so so we might as well do it. And if you're watching and want to chime in and be brought into one of the conversations, then just send me a little link, and you know how to get into it now. You say something in the post, and I'll send you the link, and you can pop in and crash the party. Like maybe we can get Jeff Iver on next week talking about VX1s, and you can crash his party for him.
Oh yeah. There's some passion for sure.
No doubt. Absolutely. But yeah, and you mentioned this whole thing with the virus going on, and that we're stuck inside right now, and these are definitely tough times. But we want to make sure that everybody is safe and healthy and ready to go back as soon as this thing disappears. We want to be back on the water as soon as possible, and that's what we all really are looking for. So. We look forward to it, and hopefully we can, show up at some of these regattas, in June or July and not laugh about it, but, kind of reflect on, telling stories of what we did to pass our time during all this stuff. And, I think that the biggest question right now is Greg actually wearing pants right now, or has he just got the collared shirt on? But
it's Friday, so yes, I am on Friday.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Greg, and we'll talk to you soon. And we'll see you on the water.
Great, Bill. Thanks for doing this, and I'm honored that you asked me to be a part of it. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks for working through the technical difficulties and getting on, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Bill. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.